Welcome back. In this lecture of electoral bond analysis, we will learn in donor analysis who are the top donors. I am Professor Arvind Prasad. So let's get ahead. We got this graph, and how do we get this graph? It was discussed in the last lecture, and the link to the last lecture is given down below, and it will be on your top right hand side also. Now let me explain. This graph gives you, on the x-axis, it gives you the face value of the bonds, and on the y-axis, it gives you the value, the total value of those bonds purchased. So you can say that the bonds that have a face value of 1 crore, the total value of such bonds was 120,000 crore. So now this gets very difficult to read sometimes, and I also do make mistakes. And it's not wise to retain these numbers in our further analysis. So let us see what we can do about it. And in this lecture, interestingly, we will also see who are the top 30 donors. And that's going to make some very interesting it's going to throw up very interesting things about who donate political parties. Well, we all have our view. He must have donated, that industrialist must have donated, this fellow must have donated, and we keep hearing news. But let's see what is the reality. So let's double click. There we are. And once we have come to the query table, what we do is we select denominations. And in denominations, the first we do is we go to transform, and we go from whole number, we go to currency. Now what we do is we go to add columns, and we go to this, that is column from examples. So let me zoom in if possible. Well, I can't, so you'll have to make do with this. That is column from examples, and you have to go from selection. Now this will open a new column here, which will be column 1. Now in this column 1, what we are going to do is we are going to write the denomination which is here, that is, so this is 10 lakh, right? This is 10 lakh. So how much is 10 lakh? Okay, 10 lakh is 0.1 crore. So let's enter 0.1. Now again, this is 10 lakh. So let's enter 0.1 here. Now this will calculate. So therefore, 1 lakh is going to be 0.01. And if we come down, 1 crore is now going to come as 1. So this is our new column that has been created. And now this gives you the value of the bond in crore. So what we do here, we double click on this division and we write value. They give the heading value in crore. So see here, and we click OK. Now we close this. So go to home and go to close and load. Now let's get back to data. Now it's loading. Let's get back to data, and in data, let's go to manage data models. Now we get back here, and suddenly what do you found? Lo and behold, we have value in crore here. Right? So let's now go to pivot table, and let's make a table this time and do a bit of analysis. So we can check new worksheet. And here what we do is, again, this time we take value in crore and put it in values. So we get the sum here, and then we get the denomination here. Now this gives us a much more clearer picture. 11,668 crore worth bonds were purchased of face value 1 crore. Now 455.7 crore worth bonds were purchased of face value 10 lakh. Okay, now let's copy down these numbers and we get some very interesting things. So we do Control C and we just put paste it here, and in pay special, we only take the values. Right. So this is the total value, that is 1,200,12145 crore. That is 12,145 crore is the total amount of bonds that were purchased. That's the value of bonds that were purchased. Okay. Now, so this is the sum total. So we put it equal to here, and we take this value, divide it by this, and we give it an absolute reference. So that's going to be function F4, enter, and we pull it down. Now, what do we find here? If you multiply this by number, this by 100, so we again take this number and just multiply it by 100. And you will find something which is very interesting. Now, this is the value of bonds in percentage. So, if you go to see, 96% of the bonds were 1 crore bonds. And only 3% of the bonds were bonds worth 10 lakh rupees. So, if we do an analysis only of the bonds that were of face value 1 crore, that itself will be a very good indicator of who were the top donors. So let's go ahead. Let's see who are the top donors. So let's once again go here to manage data model, go to pivot table, and this time select a pivot table, and this time let's select a new worksheet. And this time let's go to name of the purchaser. And then we go to value in crore, or rather, let's not take value in crore this time. Remove the field. Let's take denomination, and we take sum of denominations. And then for the filter, this time we take prefix. I'll explain you how this helps. And we have completed it now. Now, if we take the prefix OC, if we only select the prefix OC, this is an indicative, or this prefix is indicative of the value of 1 crore face value. That is bond of 1 crore face value. So let's only take OC and OK it, and there we are. So now we have the list of people who have bought bonds which have a face value of 1 crore and the total of how many bonds they have bought. Right. So we go here once again to some denomination, go to value field, go to number format, go to currency, and OK it, and there we have it. Okay. If we are further interested in knowing it, the value in crores, we pull value and we put it here, and there we have. So 14 Reels plus LLP has bought only a single bond of 1 crore. Abhinandan Stock Broking Agency has bought bonds worth 11 crore. So it has bought 11 bonds of face value 1 crore. And similarly, the list goes on. Now we want the top 30 donors. So we go down, we go to value filters, and we go to this. Again, I repeat. We come here, we drop down this list, we go to value filters, and we go to top 10. Now we can change this. So let's make it top 30. Okay. And click OK. And now there we have the list of top 30 donors. Now that gives us a very interesting list to read. It's Avis Trading, 85 crore. BG Shirke Construction and Technology, 117 crore. Interestingly, Bharti Airtel Limited, 183 crore. Birla Carbon Private Limited, 105 crore. The highest donor, if you go to see, is Future Gaming and Hotel Services Private, 1,205 crore. And it has made 3 such purchases. Then we have amongst them The top few would be Jindal, Venter, Megha Engineering, and then afterwards Western UP, Vedanta Limited, and we have these people. Now, as we can see here, the names that we think sometimes that they must have donated it have actually not donated it. How many of you would have known about Megha Engineering prior to this entire fiasco that happened, or the information came about bonds and everything and the news broke out actually? How many of you have actually even heard of Future Gaming? Now, what's more intriguing here is Future Gaming is a lottery company. It's sometimes surprising to understand that how does a company which sell lottery donate roughly around 13 to 1400 crore? Are we scammed by lotteries? Is buying lottery a wise decision? Is it not that our lotteries, the money that we spend in lotteries, don't come back to us, but they actually go into the pocket of political parties? Are you shocked? The second interesting thing is that most of these top 30 companies, barring Future Gaming, Dr. Reddy's, Birla Airtel, are construction companies, or they are some way involved in construction. Well, Torrent Power Limited, Utkal Alumina, Vedanta Limited, Western Power, UP Power Transmission, they are something of a sort of infrastructure company. You need to remember one thing, they are into energy sector. So chiefly if you go to see lottery, infrastructure companies and energy sector, they have been buying or they have been donating to political parties. Now let's take the case of energy sector. If energy sector is paying to political parties, you need to understand one thing, the energy bills are going to be high. Why? Because sponsoring political parties is going to go from the profit. And where does the profit come from? It comes from electricity charges. Now let's get back to infrastructure companies. Now these infrastructure companies, they are involved in housing, building roads and building bridges. Well, if they are sponsoring political parties, your houses are expensive. If they are building roads, the cost of building roads is now expensive. Now, if they are building bridges, the same logic goes. And who is paying for all this infrastructure? The common man. It comes from the funds of the common man, the taxes of the common man. Now, remember, a good amount of your tax is going just to political parties to fight elections. Now, is that not shocking? As Indians, should we not be a bit circumspect and not fall to the agendas of political parties, but make a very rational decision of whom we want to vote and whom we don't want to vote? Now, I'm not blaming any one party for it. And then further analysis will throw up very surprising results about this. So this was all about donor analysis. And now we'll go into political parties which have redeemed bonds in the next lecture. And that's going to be very interesting. Then after that, we'll merge the information and we'll see that who donated whom. That was all in this lecture. Goodbye, friends. Have a great day.